And welcome back to another episode of Our Community. I am your host, Kevin Young, and I'm joined with my good friend Leo Fagan. Leo, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad you made it. Leo, listen, a lot of people might recognize your face because you've been everywhere, I think. A lot of people see you. Anytime they go to a Remembrance Day parade, you're always involved with that, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. A few years ago, you worked at Walmart as a greeter, so people walking into the store would have seen you and recognized you. Leo, I want you to just share a little bit about your life with all the reviewers so they can get to know the person behind that wonderful face.
I would have started as something else, but you just mentioned what I was doing, and how many people I met. But
Yeah,
there's thousands and thousands, right from here to Vancouver,
yeah,
and down where my sister is in Minnesota, and all of those places, and that's where I went.
yeah.
And I went to a lot of the military corps, from St. John's right to Victoria.
Wow, so you have a bit of a military background then.
Yeah, I did all the cadet work for 20 years, and I spent another 12 years with the Reserve Force that was teaching the new officers that were coming in.
Right.
I was a part of that with
Wow.
other officers that are in the organizations. So I had a lot of going to do as far as
Yeah.
growing up is.
Yes, that's fantastic. So Leo, you grew up in Corner Brook, did you?
No,
No?
I didn't. I
No?
grew up in St. John's. I went to Grand Falls for 2 years, and I came to Corner Brook in 1964.
1964, wow. So what was life like for you in St. John's growing up? It was a bit different than what it is now, I'd imagine.
Well, no, it was good. I went to St. Patrick's Hall and St. Bonaventure's College and all of that, and I was in all sports,
Yeah?
and so we got to know each other all through that, and things were really great growing up, and as regards to going to the school,
Yeah.
and at the time when I graduated in 1955, I went to university to try and get in. I couldn't get in.
No?
At that time,
Right.
believe it or not, they only had,
Yeah?
I think it was approximately 259 people.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and they were up on Mary Meeting Road. That's where the
Yeah?
university used to be.
Okay.
So that's part of growing up. The other thing is the sports. Also, well, I said that already, sports. And the school was good, and we had tough times going through the school, but
Right.
we all got through,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I was quite happy when I finished.
Yeah, so you tried to get into university, but you couldn't get in. Did you do anything else for school afterward, or?
No, I didn't go into anything like that other than playing sports. And,
Right.
And
So what'd you play?
I played baseball, I played hockey, I played soccer,
Oh, wow.
and well, they were the best ones anyway.
Yes, yeah.
I tried other ones, so
Yeah.
like roller skating. Eh?
Right, right. So those were the ones you're good at. The ones you weren't good at, we won't mention. Yeah, yeah. That is awesome, Leo. And then you said you went from there to, was it Grand Falls?
Grand Falls.
yeah.
I spent 2 years in Grand Falls.
So what were you doing in Grand Falls?
Well, I'm going ahead of what I should be doing backwards.
Right.
I worked at the Crane Supply.
Okay.
And Crane Supply, I was a salesman, and I was doing a good work with it, obviously, because they wanted me to go to Grand Falls, because there's a lot of work Crane Supply uses with all the plumbing and heating and whatever else. So they wanted me to go for Grand Falls. I went to Grand Falls, and I went there for 2 years. And the reason I only went for 2 years is because Corner Brook wanted me to come to Corner Brook because of the mill and everything. So
Right.
it was a mill type of thing. And so I was an industrial salesman. So after the 2 years, I went to Corner Brook, and this is where I've been since.
Oh, wow. Well, we're glad you're here. So 1964, you said it was when you got to Corner Brook.
Yes.
Wow. And so you came working with industrial sales. Did you work directly with the mill, or did you work in the mill, or were you still continuing that kind of a sales?
Well, when I came here first,
Yeah.
I had to go and find a place to have offices and so on. So they built the Crane Supply office over there on I forget it over.
The one up on Union Street there?
Yeah, Union
Yeah,
Street,
yeah.
Union Street. So I worked there for the 20 years,
Wow.
and believe it or not, the people that I hired were probably the best I ever had, and they're still working over there.
Oh my goodness.
Most of them. Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah, yeah. So hi to everybody over at Crane on Union Street from Leo. That is so cool. So obviously a steep history even here, even though you weren't born and raised here. I mean, it's from 1964 to to today. You've had a lot of involvement with the city of Corner Brook. So what was that like once you've got here? I mean, were you married at the time?
No, I got married in 1967.
67. So you
Yes.
met your wife here?
No, out in Corner Brook, out in St. John's.
Oh, you met her out in St. John's.
I was dating her then, so
Oh, okay.
I finally said I want to go out.
Yeah.
I want her to come out.
Right.
So anyway, she made up, and then she came to Corner Brook with me,
Yeah.
and she's here ever since too. But anyway, in what was the last question you asked me?
1967 when you married your wife.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we had a great. She liked it out here right after the bat. She visited us a couple of times, but
Right.
we had good standing out here, and we knew quite a number of people. And the company used to pay my way to be in the golfing and curling.
Oh, wow.
And baseball and whatever sports money is, they wanted me to be in it.
Yeah.
So I was in that,
Wow.
and I really enjoyed it. And we had real good people in it.
Right.
So and a lot of people, I torment the fellow when I go to church now in the morning, and that's Mickey Walsh, and he was a great centre fieldsman.
Yes.
And when he came to St. John's one time, we used to go back and forth to St. John's. So if you went to St. John's when you were playing, the St. John's would beat you 10-1. But
Right.
you go to Corner Brook and they'd beat you out here 10-1. And that's the way it was.
Yeah.
But it was really good stuff.
Right.
And we had a great time, back and forth.
Yeah.
And so I got in with the old timers too.
Yeah.
And we had a baseball team. We went to St. John's, and all the older ones in Corner Brook,
Yeah.
they were all on the team. So we had a lot of fun.
Yeah. It sounds like it. That is so
Yeah.
cool. You have kids, Leo?
Kids, I got 3 girls.
3 girls. Any of them grow up in baseball?
Well, believe it or not,
Yeah.
they all played and are still playing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're playing in soccer
Yeah.
and they're skating and they're up in the hill up there.
Yeah. So they really took after Dad for that, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But they're all having a great time.
Right.
And they're here and they love it here. They grew up here, and
And so they're still living in town?
so this is their home. No, I got one daughter who's in Sussex, New Brunswick,
Right.
and I got a daughter that's in St. John's, and the daughter was here in Corner Brook.
Oh, wow. So you have one here. Wonderful.
That's the luck of the Irish.
Yes, isn't it? Leo, I'm curious to know then, because I know you've had a lot of involvement with a lot of different organizations here, including the Knights of Columbus, and you're really involved with the Legion. What led to you getting involved with these organizations? And as you mentioned, you were even involved with the reserves and training and teaching new recruits and things like that. So what led from you going from working with Crane as a salesman to this?
Well, as while I was with Crane, I could still go in the night times to the armories and do some of the stuff over there.
Right.
And the company, they wanted to know who was here. I started to meet guys, be in the same place as they were. So then, and the people's in the middle, people, Jack Murden, old Picker Murden,
Yeah.
well, him and some more of the people in there, they were on the baseball teams and the golf teams and the curling teams, and they introduced me to go and play that, or
Okay.
go with them.
Yeah.
Because I guess it was my personality, because I was friendly with everybody and I wanted to know everybody. And
You still are.
I grew up with that too, see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so were they the ones that got you involved in the cadets as well then?
No, Jerry Bastow in St. John's, I was a cadet in there.
Mm-hmm.
He told me, he said, look, you were teaching out here. Why don't you do something in Grand Falls when you go? And I was visiting Grand Falls. And the same thing, Muffled Owl here in the Corner Brook.
Right.
So I was trying for the Army cadets, but I couldn't do it because the Sea cadets were playing on Monday nights.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't go anywhere on Monday night. I had to stay at the home and do my work
Right.
after the weekend.
Yeah.
So send it out to St. John's and go from there.
Yeah. And so, but you've spent a lot of time with the cadets here. You really helped that program over the
yes.
years. Yeah.
I had great officers, Gerald Hartley and people like that. And
Yeah.
believe it or not, there were 16 officers and 14 were dead now
Oh my goodness.
over the years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Been
But
around for a long time.
they were all great, yeah, all good.
Yeah.
And the Corps, back at that time, there was national trophies and everything. And one year we had 256 cadets in the Corps, and we won the national output right across Canada.
Wow. Wow.
Corner Brook, yeah.
That is crazy. That is so awesome. So my two older boys were in Air Cadets for some time, and I was really involved with the program with the Air Cadets. Absolutely loved the cadet program, and Air, Sea, Army Cadets, absolutely fantastic. I would imagine you've learned quite a bit being in the program yourself growing up. Anything that you would advise any of the kids, when it comes to cadets? Like, what would you say to the kids who want to get involved?
Well, if they want to get involved, I used to say, would you like to come in and see what the cadet unit does? And we tell them what we did. We had sports and we had learning how to march and a lot of things. We learned a lot of things, and how do we, how do we put it?
Well, you did a lot of camps, of course, with cadets as well, and
Oh yeah, yes, I was to a lot of camps, but that was a good part of it, sending them across the country
yeah,
and letting them go up, and they got themselves going on their own horn,
yeah.
and that's how it all happened.
So, what would you say are some good life lessons you can learn from being in cadets?
You can do teaching.
Because a lot of the cadets actually become the teachers within their own corps as well, don't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember going down in the, because could go along, but it's just a short note. I was in the Bank of Montreal one time, and this man was there and behind the bar, in behind the desk.
Yeah.
And there was three of them there back on, and so they were said, "Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir." And "Yes, sir. No, sir." And all that. And when they left, he knew me,
Yeah.
and I can't remember his name now. And he said, "Leo," he said, "it's no hard to tell who a cadet is.
Yeah.
They're really gentlemen,
Yeah.
and it's what you call a good hand."
Yes, of course. And I think that's actually very, very true. I've seen a lot of the kids that have gone through the cadet program, some that may have even had some struggles with, issues in school and at home, go through the cadet program, and it really changed their attitude and their outlook in life in a very much a positive way.
Oh yes, well, see, back that time and right up to now, they had nowhere to go, nothing to do, and a lot of the kids couldn't play sports. A lot of the kids didn't like it, and there's other things they didn't like, but they liked the cadets because it was fellowship,
Right.
and they were learning, teaching, and they got disciplined,
Yeah.
and all of those things worked out. And then when they went away to the camps, they came back self-learning, and they knew how to do what to do on their own self.
Yes.
But we got them off the floor, and they would do the rest.
Yeah.
And as a consequence, they grew up and be young gentlemen. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, some of them come to see me now, and they said, "If it wasn't for you, I would never be anywhere.
Yeah.
And they got nice jobs, and they said, thanks for the job, and all that.
Yeah. What a wonderful
It comes
testimony.
back.
Yeah.
And my own self, in 1954, and this is going to get a kick out of you,
Yeah.
I was the first air cadet in Canada to get the top leader
Oh my goodness. Wow.
in Barrie, Ontario.
Wow.
I should have took down
Oh my goodness.
and showed you.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so wonderful. See, you've got a wonderful story to share, and I love
So,
that, Leo.
But that's Barrie, Ontario. That's where we were back
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
And the flip. And I used to fly in the planes and everything too. But I would have stayed in the air cadet. So like I told you before, I couldn't go. But I liked the cadet units of all sides. So I went to the Sea Cadets.
yeah.
So, and they all worked well back at that time. Right here in Corner Brook, we had 500 and something cadets, Army, Navy, and Air Force.
Yeah,
And that was fantastic.
it was. And I remember, I grew up in the Sea Cadets. I was in Sea Cadets many, many years ago. I remember Hartley very much. He was the CO when I was in the Sea Cadet program. And there were so many of us. And we filled the parade floor in the armories. You're involved with the Legion now.
Yeah, I'm in the Legion. I'm on the executive.
Yeah. So the Legion has some involvement with the cadets as well.
Oh yes, right back from 1970 when I came here.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yes, no question about that.
So what do you guys do right now? I mean, obviously you've got the big thing every year is the Remembrance Day Parade, but you guys also have the Beaumont Hamel
The Beaumont Hamel.
on Canada Day, and
then we go out on whenever anybody wants us to do things for them in our uniforms and that. Like up in the when they opened the Civic Centre, well, we had a whole load of service there,
right?
and veterans.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing, is what we do in the other units. We help the people all out everywhere,
Yeah.
and they help us.
So that's one of the things that I have to say, that when it comes to the veterans, when it comes to those who are involved with organizations like Knights of Columbus, like you said you are, we talked earlier about that, and with the Legion, it's that they serve with their lives and then they just continue serving the community.
That's the whole thing. The other thing with me too is St. Vincent de Paul.
Right.
And that's a big thing right across the world in Canada, and we're doing a wonderful job here, and in entrance with everybody else, like Salvation Army and the other ones that are here in Corner Brook, the Lines, and
Yeah.
so everything it all swings up, eh?
Of course.
But I wanted to mention something about Hartley.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
he joined the cadets, there was one drummer.
Right.
And he was the bass drummer. And Corner Brook, in the end, I think it was 1972, there's a wall, a plaque on the wall down City Hall. The Navy cadets were the city band.
Right.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Hartley was in that, and he was so designated and everything. He was sick, and he was in hospital.
Wow.
And he came down to the hospital and put in his uniform and to play the bass drum.
Wow.
And
What a man.
I said, you couldn't
Yeah.
do it. But the nurse, the doctor, told the nurse, let him go down.
Yeah.
So he went down.
Wow.
So
No regrets, I bet.
no regrets at all. No.
Yeah, that is
And-
wonderful. That level of dedication is admirable for sure.
Well, this is where Hartley started, and look where he ended up with.
Yeah.
He was a lieutenant commander, just like me, and the kids he was working with, and the young men, when they grew up, well, they were on to him too.
Yes, exactly.
They knew who he was, and it keeps rolling on.
Yeah.
And
it
his
definitely-
scholars now are in it,
Oh, wow.
yeah, and officers.
Yeah. Wow, that is fantastic.
So that's when you were saying the same thing too, because you went through part of it, and
Yeah, and then my kids as well. And
yeah.
yeah, and then maybe theirs one day.
Well, you never know.
No. So, Leo, you said, was it 50 years with the Knights of Columbus as well?
Yes.
What's that been like? That's a long time to be a part of such a wonderful organization.
Well, the organisation is like other organisations, getting people to join, get them to get in there, and then doing things, charity, and everything like that.
Yeah.
You know, and having people going to the churches and you name it, and helping the whole city in general, really. And but it's a beautiful thing for other people to be in as well.
It is.
Yeah.
So you guys are always looking for recruits to build and grow, and
Oh yeah.
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 So if somebody were interested in becoming a member of the Knights of Columbus, what would they do?
All you do is go down and get and fill it out.
The application form, yeah.
And
So where would they go to pick that up?
they can pick that up on the second Tuesday in every month.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you have to find the Grand Knight.
Right.
And now I know who he is, but I haven't got his phone number.
No, that's okay. But people can come down to, is it the Bennett Hall where Knights of Columbus meet, or is it?
No, they're in Hollow's basement.
Oh, Hollow's Base, that's
Because
right.
we had our own
Yes,
place up on Reed Street.
right.
So
Yeah, so All Hallows Basement, Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
They can pop down and
see what it's all about.
see what it's all about. Wow, that is so awesome. And you guys do a lot in the community. So you do a lot with the Legion. You do a lot with Knights of Columbus. You've also volunteered with the
St.
long-term
Vincent-
care and St. Vincent
St.
de Paul.
Vincent de Paul. Yeah.
Yeah. So what, I mean, obviously you do a lot for the community. And I'm assuming you enjoy it, which is why you do it. But is there anything else that Leo Fagan likes to do in town in his free time, whatever free time he might have?
Was any free time that I might have? Let me think. Well, I just go around. I just go around seeing, helping people.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. You see, I got to be honest with you. One of my biggest fears about a growing community when it gets too big is we lose track and lose sight of that community awareness, that membership within the community, which causes us to lose that volunteer aspect. I think it's really hard nowadays to find volunteers for a lot of things, but you keep that alive. And I think that anybody that's gotten to know you, that's been around you, sees that, and I really hope, and I'm positive, I'm sure, that many have taken that as an objective to be like Leo. Let's get out and do something and get involved with the community and things like that.
That's a lot of the ex-cadets. Whenever they pass me, they really always give me some kind of a credit, you know. And
right.
if it wasn't for you, and
Yeah.
thanks for all you did, and whatever, you know.
Yeah, and I bet there are so many other people in our community that have been positively impacted by you, Leo, and which is why I'm so glad you're here on the show, because I think that a lot of the people that are watching that have met you over the years, maybe they didn't know you were born and raised in St. John's and what brought you to Corner Brook. Maybe they don't know a lot about your sports involvement, which I think is fantastic, and 3 daughters and grandkids, I would imagine.
Yeah, I got grandchildren.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same thing.
Yeah,
See, and that's what the cadets are doing. They're all following up.
right.
The thing is that people in my status, before I left, I had to stay to keep them coming. Then when my time to go out, I went out. And then
Right.
Hartley came in,
Yeah,
and that's the way it works. And then he leans on me if he needs me anything, or anybody needs him, and they lean on him, and that's what it is. It's a family, really.
right.
It's a great big one, but it's still that type.
Yeah. So during all of this time, the 50 years with Knights of Columbus, the years with the cadets, you were still working as a salesman.
Oh yes.
Your wife mustn't have seen you too often.
Well, she used to like bowling, and
Yeah,
she did her things with the ladies. So,
of course, yeah.
So and she was happy. So that.
You know, and that's something I remember talking about in a last episode. We had Dustin Parsons, who hosts West Talk, on, and we were talking about one of the things that works well in a relationship, in a marriage, and that is not only doing things together, but being able to do things apart.
Yeah,
And getting to enjoy,
Yeah.
your own thing. And it sounds like
Yeah.
that's been a very good staple in your marriage. And what's help last the test of time.
Yes. So, well, no, I'm not married now,
No.
but that's just something happened, that's all.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And but we meet each other, talk each other. So
Yeah.
that's the way it's got to be. The world, you know.
Yeah.
You just can't go and disagree to everything, and not
No.
say nothing, just pass people. And
Yeah. And you're still very busy with the community. You're still very much involved.
oh yeah, very much so.
So
Yeah.
what are some of the things you really look forward to each year? Obviously, the parades are a big thing.
Well, the biggest thing out of the whole thing
Mhm.
is the St. Vincent de Paul.
Right.
And they're much like the Salvation Army, but we got our own way of doing things
Yeah.
because it's going all across Canada like everything else.
Mhm.
And but when you see someone that, you know, we have a kitchen, and there's people that comes down not just for food or money. They come down because they're lonely and
Right.
they need someone to be with them, and we do that, and very much so. And a lot of those people are again, they phone us. They're even phoning us now. What time is the kitchen open, sir? And I says, well, we're going to be at, but they call me Leo, really.
Right.
Some of the cadets will be you, sir. But
Yeah.
anyway, they call me my name, but they like someone to talk to and discuss and help some of their troubles and help some of the things that they need to be.
And that definitely seems like something you're very, very good at. Leo, I can talk to you all day. I really can. Unfortunately, our time is up. But I really want to thank you for being here, for sharing your story. Hopefully some of our viewers watching that have got to know you over the years, got to know you a little bit better today. And be sure to give you a nice warm hello when they see you again. So thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate it, Leo. And for all of you watching, thanks for joining us. And hopefully we'll see you again next time. Until then, bye for now.